And welcome back to another daily devotion. I am Pastor Roy here at Woodlawn Christian Church in Lake City, Iowa, and this devotion is for Monday, January 22nd of 2024. We are in the Gospel of Mark. We've made it to the 6th chapter. Today we want to tackle verses 21 to 29, which is going to get us through the section we started on Friday, talking about King Herod and John the Baptist, Herodias, his wife that was married to his brother Philip, and now today we're going to have Herodias and Philip's daughter come into the story, King Herod's niece. So, before we jump into it, remember that Herodias doesn't like John very much at all because he has told Herod and her that she shouldn't have been marrying John, or Herod rather, when she was still married to Philip. So before we jump into verses 21 to 29, let's back up just a little bit and read verses 18, 19, and the first part of 20. So, for John said to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." And Herodias had a grudge against him and wanted to kill him, but she could not. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a righteous and holy man, and kept him safe. Now, Herod knows he's guilty. He knows he's done wrong. He hates to admit it. He doesn't want to admit it. He won't admit it. Herodias, she just wants blood. But Herod doesn't want to compound his sin of marrying his brother's wife with killing a righteous and holy man, a man of God, which is what he believes John to be. All right, so let's jump into verses 21 to 29 and see what happens now and what we can think about this. But an opportunity came when Herod on his birthday gave a banquet for his courtiers and officers and the leading men of Galilee. For when Herodias' daughter came in and danced, she pleased Herod and his guests. And the king said to the girl, "Ask me for whatever you wish, and I will grant it." And he vowed to her, "Whatever you ask me, I will give you, even half of my kingdom." And she went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask for?" And she said, "The head of John the baptizer." And she came in immediately with haste to the king and asked him, saying, "I want you to give me at once the head of John the Baptist on a platter." And the king was exceedingly sorry, but because of his oaths and his guests, he did not want to break his word to her. And immediately the king sent a soldier of the guard and gave orders to bring his head. He went and beheaded him in the prison, and brought his head on a platter and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. Then, when his disciples heard of it, they came and took his body and laid it in a tomb. And that would be John's disciples that heard of it and came and got John's body and buried his body. They didn't have his head. So what have we got going here? Herodias has seen her opportunity to get her ounce of flesh for John having insulted her by pointing out her sin. We talked about that on Friday. People don't like you much when you point out their sins. That is something that we have to deal with. A part of talking to people is being trying to have a gentle way. Now, apparently John wasn't that gentle about it. But at the same time, we need to let people know they're doing a sinful thing. She is very much doing a sinful thing. She's married to his brother. She left one brother to marry the other brother. Not something that's appropriate then nor now, to be quite blunt. Herod, however, gives this banquet for his own birthday. He's a little bit of an ego there, shall we say. A lot of ego going on here. Ego gets you in trouble. And he is also lusting over his niece, which is a horrific thing to do. He's putting his niece, his stepdaughter and niece, both, just makes it all the more icky and worse, doesn't it? On display to his guest in a sexualized fashion. She's doing a sexualized dance. That's a problem. Herod, you just are compounding your problems for your sinfulness. And because of his lust, because of his ego, I'm putting together this thing and braggiose ways in front of his friends and his guests, he brings out this very, what I want to say, inflated ego idea of, because you dance so well, I'll give you up to half my kingdom. Ask anything you want. Ego goes before a fall. And so he tells her this, and then she goes to Herodias. Well, Herodias, for crying out loud, talk about a terrible mother. Your daughter now has a chance to lock in a considerable amount of wealth that would be enough to sustain her for the remainder of her life. And what do you want her to do? You want her to go get the head of the guy you don't like that pointed out you're sinning. And you know you're sinning, and because of that, you send her to go ask this child that doesn't know any better to go and to ask for this head of this man that has pointed out her sin. What kind of a terrible mother is this? Forget about this, the lustful part of this the whole thing. Her daughter has a chance again to lock in enough sustenance to take care of her for her lifetime. She would be never want for money, and mom don't care. Mom just wants blood. Not a great mother. So Herodias obviously has a bloodlust. She has a murderess. She's a murderer indirectly. They didn't cut the head off, but she is because of her. So she is guilty of the death of John the Baptist, no less and perhaps more than the person who wielded the sword. So there's a failing. She's failed greatly there. King Herod, he's been trying to keep John safe because he knows John is a man of God. He knows he is a righteous, holy and righteous man, and he has God's ear. And yet he, because of his ego and his promise to this girl in front of his guests, he's not going to say, no, well, wait, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go there. You're wanting to kill somebody. You're wanting to kill an innocent man. No, that's not part of this deal. But he doesn't do that. His ego is writing checks, and he can't cash them, or he does cash them, much to his dismay. His demise, ultimate demise, he's going to be condemned for that one, I'm certain, because he can't get past his own ego and won't let him back down on his word. He gives in to this girl and Herodias, knowing fully well the reason why this girl's come and asked for John the Baptist's head. His ego won't back down. His lust, his ego, those two things have got him into this situation. And this is what puts him into this incredible, he's just compounded sin upon sin upon sin here, hasn't he? He is the one that gave the order for John the Baptist's death. Therefore, he's just as guilty as Herodias is. Now, just as guilty as the person who wielded the sword, if again, not more. So where can we take from this for our own selves, our own lives, and our own interactions with the world? First of all, it's our ego. Our ego always gets us in trouble. My mentor, Bob Moby, always said, whenever ego walks in the door, God walks out. Because you just do ungodly things when you're trying to maintain, and you're trying to, whatever I want to say, present, however, that's not the word I want, but I can't think of the word I want. But when you have this inflated ego, you just get yourself into all kinds of trouble. Pride, ego, and of course, also lust is thrown in there. Because it was because of this lustful moment that he makes this ill-gotten promise that his ego won't allow him back down from. How many times in life have we made bad decisions because of lustful thinking, lustful intentions? How many times have we made bad decisions? How many times have we not backed down on and gotten taken back a bad decision, or tried to rectify or whatever a bad decision because our ego wouldn't let us get out, say, no, wait a minute, can't do that. That's not right. We all have been in those situations, I have to say. Certainly can remember some situations where I've been in, those things happen. We shouldn't be like that. We should listen to this story. This story is a cautionary tale. We need to remember this when we get ourselves into situations like that. Not that we have all the wealth that Herod had to be able to promise half a kingdom, but it still plays into this whole thing of lust, ego, and not wanting to embarrass yourself, not wanting to give up face. Sometimes we have to just, swallow a bitter pill. Often we have to swallow a bitter pill, and we have to admit, nope, I can't do that. That's not right. That's against God. Nothing that you do that's against God, that's to placate your ego or your lust, is a good thing. All right, that's what I've got for you today. We're going to be talking about something a little more pleasant come tomorrow we're going to start dealing with a bunch of food, or food that kind of grows somehow. Have a blessed day. Please, please, please be a blessing to someone today. If you do enjoy these devotions, please do like and subscribe. Come on back again. Feel free to share them. We'd love to have you help us to grow the channel a little bit more. All right. Take care. God bless. Be a blessing to someone today. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. God loves you.